people get on a horse with a traditional mounting block in the middle, and then also a handicap accessible ramp with 2 different heights in the corner. The door in the back allows for wheelchair accessibility through this door in the garage.
Yeah, that's a great, who designed that? Because that,
I think Roger was really key
Maybe,
in making sure everything
yeah,
was
I mean,
as
that's
inclusive
just-
and accessible as
It's
possible.
probably the best experience and one of the toughest,
Uh-huh.
like coming up with from just nothing and figuring out, just which way to put the doors and,
Placement of
I
everything.
Yeah.
wish the arena could have been bigger, but it's what we could swing in the budget. And then figuring out the stall areas and
yeah.
going back, there isn't a lot of things I think I would have changed. I think we got it right on.
Yeah, it's, and it's because it's heated too, and of course, you're talking about everything, once you're larger, everything's more expensive
Right.
by the footage, but it's such a great, very often I find the mounting area is kind of, you hold your breath,
Yeah.
and it's kind of put in a corner, and you're trying to do something where here it appears to me to actually have a little room, you can actually
Yes,
move
there's a lot
around.
of space up there, and
Yeah.
they have grip tape on the edge there. So maybe if somebody has a visual impairment, they can at least feel when they're approaching the edge. And then also the Hoyer lift as well,
Right,
which is on
yeah.
the other side of the
Right.
half wall.
It's got a harness that goes with it, and it lifts people right up and slides out, so we can put them on either a taller horse or we can bring them way out towards the arena,
Mhm.
which is really handy.
And
And
we've
I-
used that quite a few times.
You always feel,
Yeah.
like you said, you do always, it's like you hold your breath in the mounting block
Right.
areas.
Yeah.
That's really a pretty good feature, and you don't feel too nervous. I feel almost as comfortable as that as doing a mounting block, really.
Uh-huh. And how many of your typical lesson horse group will do the Hoyer lift, you think? Most, or
No, I wouldn't
just
say
a few?
most. With hippotherapy, it seems to be more. Some of our adaptive riders, not too many, but hit
Yeah.
and miss, because we're always getting new people in.
Yeah, no, I mean, which
Probably
which
about 3 to
horses would
4
do?
horses
horses.
are
Yeah,
comfortable
because I'm,
with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
3 or 4
Yeah, we've got
solid,
3 or 4.
yeah.
And they do a mix of everything, so that way we have some that can do physical therapy or adaptive lessons, so that way we can kind of try and find a horse for every kind of rider. If they, it's generally, I think it's used more for physical therapy, but we do have a couple horses that are used for a lot of things that can kind of pull double duty,
Uh-huh,
for adaptive riders as well.
yeah.
I think Cruiser is one that kind of comes to mind, it can do any kind of scenario, really.
It would be a great little demo video to see.
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
Because even if the horse, if you have the person on the lift and the horse acts up or walks, you're still in that lift.
Right.
Until they're like on the horse and you remove it, you've got a
Secure
way to
and
get them away
everything.
from the horse.
Right. Yeah, you're there. I saw it used at and the name is escaping me, but it's down in Goshen, very nice site in Goshen, New York. But they have one, and again, they kind of went through 10 horses, and 2 of them are just rock solid. But it suited that, they don't have that many clients.
Right.
That way, it kind of
Yeah.
suited it, but,
That's like 3 or 4 of our guys are just totally fine with it and others don't want anything to do with it, but.
Right, and we haven't really pushed it, because, there's not a need for them to do it just yet, so if the other 4 are comfortable and okay with that, then we just,
yeah.
go with that for the moment.
And then
And-
the TheraPlates that we have are really great too. We have the human version and the horse version, so it helps, relax their muscles, any tension and joints, things like that. And they all love to go on there. They seem to
The
really
horses love
enjoy
it.
it.
Once they've been on once, they
Yeah.
kind of realize they put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah,
You
That's,
can leave
yeah.
them right on there, go walk, do other
they'll
stuff,
just stand
and
there and wait.
kind of doze off.
And then the human version's nice too, because it helps out a lot of our folks that might have a lot of sensory input needs. Kind of gives them that vibration.
Yeah,
It helps them get calm. So sometimes do that before a lesson.
Yeah, a lot of times we'll put that low barrel on the equine TheraPlate, so somebody can do stretches,
okay,
kind of provide a little bit of that sensory stimulation before getting on.
Yeah.
And as Roger said, it can also be a really good transition tool. We've worked with children with autism sometimes before. Maybe the grooming process is just a little much or sensory overload. So we'll bring them out here on the low barrel on the TheraPlate. Just having that vibration really helps kind of ground them and recenter them before actually getting on the horse for their lesson. So it's been a really awesome tool to have.
yeah.
Yeah, and we'll typically, 2 is really, we have done 3 riders in here, but 2 is really about the most comfort level. Some are independent, some are, on a lead line, it's sidewalker, so it all depends on the level of the rider.
Yeah.
You can canter in here, it's a little tight, but you can get into it.
And synthetic footing.
Yeah, so this is silica sand and recycled textiles. So it's nice because it never gets dusty. Like you literally can't make dust.
Yeah.
Run around here, not in here for hours, and
Yeah.
nothing.
And that, everything stays clean. It's better for us, for the horses breathing wise. And then we drag it a couple times a week, and it just kind of mixes it up, and it's nice and level. That was a great addition because, you know, we've all been in places where you look at the other end, you can't even see the person because it's so
Right.
dusty and you're hosing everything down. And actually water, you don't want to put water in because it just sits there.
Uh-huh.
So you just drag it and keep it going.
I think it's supposed to be a better shock absorber for your feet and the horses too.
Yeah, you can
It doesn't
definitely
get it,
feel
it's
the
not as much of an
difference when you
impact
walk
as
on
say
it.
like
Yeah.
harder.
I'm sure there's
harder
nothing
sand.
worse than volunteers walking in sand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Time
more
and time
comfortable
and
to
time
walk
again, you
on.
know, it's, yeah.
Exhausting.
They say the best footing is really kind of the way God designed horses, is just a nice moisture grass,
I was gonna
you
say
know,
grass.
like a lawn, like a golf course
Yeah.
with a little moisture to it, but not enough to cut through it, you know, and it seems like all the synthetics just try to be that.
Yeah.
You know, obviously grass doesn't work, but
Maybe you don't-
anything you're moving on that has a little return to your step has got to be better for everybody.
We have a lot of riders with like dust allergies and bronchitis, so this has been really beneficial for them.
You can get a little, you know, we're kind of jumping all over, but you can see the tower up there. That is our climbing tower, which is part of our adventure ropes course. There's a zip line that's connected to that tower, which is 1,000 feet long, and it's the first handicap accessible one in the world, apparently. They made us a banner. Adventure Moss is the company that built it. But all through the woods up there is low and high elements. There's an adaptive ropes course, high ropes course, a team wall, all sorts of elements. There's 4 or 5 different pods,
Uh-huh.
and they're all accessible, which is really a great feature.
Yeah.
So that helps with some of the offset of the program, bring it a little more revenue.
You find companies, you kind of get that experience looking for a company
Team
or,
building,
yeah,
yeah.
team building experiences from all different scenarios, whether it's Boy Scouts or a Kodak Corporation or,
Yep.
We've also seen, I'd say last summer, an increase in companies doing like a volunteer project in conjunction with team building. So they'll do a half-day program on the ropes course and then a half-day volunteer project here at the farm. So it's kind of win-win. It's been really
Right.
beneficial to have large groups of the manpower for bigger projects. And then they get to experience what the farm has to offer as well. And that usually triggers a couple ripple effects of return customers too.
sure, as well as possible
Right.
donations from
Right,
corporations.
Over on this side, see that building there is our chicken coop, so we have ducks and chickens. We could, which we sell the eggs. And a lot of our folks with special needs volunteer and work in the program right along with us,
Right.
which is a nice feature.
All right, I'm going to hit this.